Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt. With me, as always, is my cousin Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Spectacular. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be you. We're going to get right to it today, dude, because we've been talking about this day all week, and we have got a million things to talk about. We've got we've got some MLB stories going on. It's not going to quite be a triple play today. We're going to go a little double play on the MLB. We got the some NBA playoffs, a lot of playoff stuff going on in the hockey realm of things. The Masters was last weekend. Mick Cronin, the Bearcats coach, is gone. There's a ton of stuff. So let's go ahead. Let's get started by letting everybody know how they can get a hold of you on the tweet box.
I'm on Twitter at AdamSchmidt44, and you are on Twitter at
SickWittit.
That's SICWHITTIT.
In case you were wondering. We've got a little new setup for us today, so we will be so if we get a little jumped around here, it's new for me on the production side of things, but we're going to make this happen. You can catch us on Facebook every Wednesday, 10:30 p.m. ish. We go live on the Facebook, and then Thursday morning, you can catch it on all your favorite platforms, Facebook, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and so many more. Now, Adam, let's start off because we have concluded the Final Four in our Nosebleed Sports Podcast Best Nicknames in NBA History contest.
We have. The semifinals are complete. Well, there are a couple hours left. You can still get on and vote for the second semifinal game between the Mailman, Karl Malone, and the Glove, Gary Payton. Right now, Karl Malone is just torching the Glove.
It's not even close.
I think it's 68-32, something like that.
Yes.
So you can still get on. If you can get like 15 people to get on and vote for Gary Payton, he can get another comeback win. It's just how he got here in the first place. But it looks like our championship this upcoming week is going to be the Mailman, Karl Malone, versus the man with two nicknames, the man who I think is now in a good position to win this thing, Larry Legend / the Hick from French Lick.
You think he's in good position, huh? Because the Mailman has been blowing everybody out. At the same time, so has the Hick.
So is Larry. So I mean, I know who I think. It's pretty clear for me.
Sure.
But anyway, you'll get a chance to get on and vote. Starting, I'll have it up tonight about probably 12:30, 1 o'clock. So get on. You'll have all week to vote for the Mailman or the Hick from French Lick, who you think has the best nickname, who will be our champion.
There you go. All right, so real quick, let's go through some quick non-normal topics. So in hockey, one of the craziest things happened. Basically, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who played the number 1 seed, the Tampa Bay Lightning, swept the Lightning. Now, for us, Columbus is the closest hockey team that we have in the NHL. So that's cool in general. Just to have a professional hockey team within a couple hours of us, or a professional team in general, win a playoff series. It doesn't happen every day when you live in Cincinnati. So congratulations to them. But the real thing is this Tampa Bay team tied a season high in wins for a NHL record in wins this year. So it's almost, the way I see it is, it's like the Warriors from 2-3 years ago when they hit 72 wins. It would be like it would be them losing in the first round of the playoffs. That's just insane to me.
That is crazy. We do have a lot of Columbus Blue Jackets fans around here, and you spend a lot of time in Columbus for work. I'm sure you see a lot of Columbus Blue Jackets gear. We get their games on the Fox Sports Ohio station that we have here. So yeah, that is, if you're a hockey fan and you're an NHL fan, we do have a minor league team here in Cincinnati, but for as far as at the highest level, we have the Blue Jackets. They've been good. They've been a good team for the last few years, and they did sneak into the playoffs, and like you said, swept the team that was the best team in the regular season, at least. So now
I wonder
The
if
Blue Jackets advance.
Yeah, I wonder if the Blue Jackets. Told anybody that they would give them something free if they swept. Like like there's no chance we'll do this. We'll give out free whatever. Kind of like the way I said we would give out a whole bunch of T-shirts that still are not given out. Jason Myers, I see you up there, buddy. I promise. I got Dylan's shirt. He's the first one to get one, dude. I promise. Anyway, past that. So hockey. You have anything else you want to get in hockey? Congratulations, Blue Jackets.
Congratulations to the Blue Jackets. They have some more work to do. It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun to see them advance and at least get to the Stanley Cup Finals. I will watch some playoff hockey if the Blue Jackets make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
So I'm going to say this real quick. I do watch a little bit of playoff hockey. I enjoy playoff hockey. They play. I mean, I would probably enjoy hockey. The problem is I don't understand all the rules, the icing and things like that. I know there's certain lines that things got to go past. I love icing. And there's also plenty of other intricate details I know nothing about. But on that,
high sticking.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
slashing.
That actually makes sense, though. High sticking. It's literally just a high stick.
Yeah, that's still a penalty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Slashing is one.
I'm saying I don't understand some of them, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what constitutes those penalties, but
there you go. I'm with you.
I've heard of them.
So anyway, the
power play.
I promise I'll get these shirts out. I got another one out here. If you want a shirt, and I promised you a shirt, please get a hold of us. The wife is on top of things. She's getting close to getting the shirts made. I thought they were in production a couple weeks ago. They weren't. However, we'll get these done. Anyway, I'm not going to keep reading the comments because it's throwing me off. So I'm going to keep my eyes off the comments here for a second and just focus on what we're talking about, which is hockey. Real quick, before we get out of that, I wanted to say also the Pittsburgh – is it Pittsburgh? The Pittsburgh Penguins, who won 2 out of the last 3 Stanley Cups, also got swept.
Wow.
By the Islanders, I believe.
Oh,
I mean, hockey's got all kinds of crazy things going on. So keep up to date with that because we probably won't. Now, on that note, something I do keep up with, and one of my favorite things to watch, which I know that you probably could care less, but one of my favorite things to watch is golf. Mm-hmm. And we don't talk about golf on the podcast. We just don't get into it. I know you're not the biggest golf guy. So I guess where I'm going with this is Tiger Woods. Congratulations. So I'm watching the Masters, and I watched Thursday. Didn't get to see too much Friday. Watched Saturday. Woke up Sunday. Was watching Sunday. Went to brunch. Watched it at the place we were at.
Put your red shirt on.
Picked the kids up. Sprinted home to catch the last two holes. Trying to get my son, who's 6 years old, to sit on the couch and watch it with me, and he did, just with his iPad at the same time. But that's okay. And my wife comes in after Tiger makes his bogey putt to win it. And he goes, she says, is that what you've been waiting for? And I look up and she goes, are you crying? I didn't say a word. I just turned my head. Yeah, I did, man. That was special. And he grabbed his kid and the embrace with his family. And listen, Tiger's done some things that I know people don't like him for. All right. Yeah, the guy's a cheat and things like that. Not in golf, but a cheat in his marriage and all that kind of stuff. And, I don't care about that. I care about the fact that he makes golf that much better. People tune in just to see him. To go, 11 years since he's won a major. 14 years since he won the Masters. He gets his 5th Masters, his 15th major. Everybody said he was done. He's now 3 away from Jack Nicklaus. I said to a friend of mine, he's winning 2 this year. I said it before the Masters, and he got the first one. There's 3 left. I'm counting on Tiger, dude. He's gonna get 1. He's gonna get 1 more this year.
1 more this year, so then he's gonna need 2 more to tie Jack.
2 more. Yes.
Is he getting 2 more to tie
Jack?
Oh,
he's gonna end up with 20 altogether.
Holy cow!
He's gonna end up with 20.
After such a long drought, after 4 back surgeries, after the spinal fusion surgery, after all that,
he gets it. If he starts putting, he's back to the most dominant player in the world. I mean, he played not even his best golf the other day. He missed quite a few putts that are gimme putts for him. So I'm excited. Look, get me all excited. Anyway. All right, that's enough of that.
No, that is a big thing. And Tiger made golf much more popular than it was, when he came on, and he got a lot of people into golf, and because it's not a sport for everybody. Not everybody can sit there and watch golf. And I don't watch much golf, and I didn't get to see much of the Masters this weekend, but I'm not totally opposed to it or anything. I appreciate how difficult the game is. It's a game that's so much harder than it looks. Because
There's no doubt about that.
To the casual fan or not even fan, you say golf and they're like, okay, you hit a ball into a hole or whatever, and it's not. I mean, it's nowhere close to that easy.
Of course not.
I don't play a ton, but the times
the
that I
only
have,
way to really appreciate watching golf is you have to play quite a bit of golf to understand and see what these guys can do with the ball. And they walk up there and they're like, we need a nice easy cut, knock down 5-iron, blah blah blah, backspin, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
because they just pulled out of the bag and then they just do it.
Yeah.
And geez, Pete, it's unbelievable. The recovery shots that they have are insane. These guys are, to know the distances. It's a whole different thing. Anyway, before we get too much into golf, because I don't know how much our fans like it, we don't talk about golf ever. I love it. I love watching it. Go Tiger. You're my man. I will watch. When Tiger came back, I stopped watching golf. I didn't watch that much golf. Still watched the majors, but I didn't watch as much regular golf. Now that Tiger's back, I 100% will be watching almost every Sunday to whatever tournament's out there.
I got you. All right. Well, listen.
Now, Tiger, to tell you, Tiger was the first real golfer to bring in exercising and really beefing up. That dude really got swole.
He did. You don't have to be, and John Daly is a living proof of this, you don't have to be an Adonis to be a great golfer. You can smoke and drink your life away and still be a pretty good golfer, John, right? But anyway, but you're right. Tiger did. He brought physical fitness, and his workout regimen was that of these other professional sports that you see guys that are at the top athletes in the world. Tiger was on that level as far as his physical fitness.
He still is.
He's probably not working out the same way because of all the back stuff and everything, but he is in incredible shape for 43 years old.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to wear a T-shirt underneath his whatever shirt he wears. He wears these dry fits.
Oh.
Big, his nipples must be monsters because they're always it's like it's always freezing cold wherever he's golfing.
Well, here's he can get a T-shirt if he goes and fills out a complete card by attending enough times at Training Personally. Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is where you want to go if you need a little motivation, if you need to be challenged a little bit to get going, whether you have never worked out in your life, whether you're kind of an intermediate exerciser like me, or whether you're an advanced guy like you
or Tiger.
Both you and him share that you are advanced in your physical fitness.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, Training Personally is where you want to go. Peggy Edwards will put you through an interval circuit training course. She will be there guiding you one-on-one. She's a certified personal trainer. You don't pay for the cost and the normal cost of a personal trainer. You pay for the regular cost of a gym membership like you'd go anywhere, and you get the attention of a personal trainer.
Yeah, you do.
Peggy Edwards is excellent at modifying to your needs. If you have a little bit of a nagging injury, but you're good enough to work out, but you have a little bit, a little bum knee or a little whatever, you had back surgery at one time or whatever, she is perfect at modifying the exercises, knowing what you need, what your body needs. She can advise you with nutrition, and basically she's a life coach and a certified personal trainer. That's at the same time. So Training Personally, all the information you need is on the Training Personally page on Facebook. Training Personally with Peggy Edwards, and you can go to trainingpersonally.com.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, excited about that. She does a heck of a job, man. So on that note, you know who is swole? My dude Puig.
Yasiel Puig.
So did you hear the latest? So I feel like we should have a segment on the podcast that's called The Puig or something of that nature, because he does something every week that probably annoys you and makes me giggle. So this week, Mr. Puig, this week we're in right now, he we played the Dodgers. The Reds played the Dodgers.
Monday. I think
This is a Cincinnati-based podcast, so we get into a lot of Cincinnati stuff. So the Reds are playing the Dodgers, and all the ex-Dodgers that the Reds have now, we're going to get their National League Championship Series rings.
Yes.
However, somebody showed up a little late because he was shopping.
A little is kind. A little is a kind word for it. So you had your other guys. You had Alex Wood and Kyle Farmer and Matt Kemp. They showed up for the press conference, I guess, that they were doing with those guys. Yasiel Puig showed up over an hour late for it. So those three guys got their rings. Puig said, "Throw mine in my locker." He didn't care. He said, "I don't care about that," which I am totally fine with.
Cool. You are.
Wow,
I thought that you would totally hate the fact that he was late for that.
No, I do hate the fact that he was late for that. I
That's what
don't
I thought.
I don't hate the fact that he doesn't care, because swipe left, swipe right, rings for winning like division championships, conference championships.
Swipe left.
Thank you.
Swipe left.
What
It
happened
cracks me up.
here?
Dude, that's been going on for years.
But it didn't used to be that way. It didn't used to be that way, I don't think.
Hell,
I think you won rings for winning an NBA championship,
Brother,
a World Series.
Let me just remind you of one of our favorite movies one of my favorite movies growing up, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, was all about
The
Dan
Dolphins
Marino's
AFC championship
championship ring.
I know.
That's what it was all about.
You're right, and that
they've
was
been
from the early 90s. You're
Dude,
right.
I'm thinking they've been doing this for a long, long, long time.
However long they've been doing it is however long I do not like it. I think you win a ring for winning the highest level championship you can possibly win, and that's it. If you wanna hang a banner, put something in the arena or whatever, and say, hey, these are the years we won division championships, league championships, or whatever. Fine. Make T-shirts, whatever. The ring is supposed to be a symbol of
a championship,
right?
And they
you
won a championship. They won the National League Championship Series.
Then find something bigger and better for winning the World Series or the finals.
I guarantee you that ring is way bigger.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It can be, I guess, but I'm telling you, I've seen some of the rings, some pictures of the rings. Why are you getting a ring with diamonds in it and your name in it and all this kind of stuff for Xavier winning the
Big East championship?
Why would you? Why?
Dude, that was the big. Well, I mean, that's a big deal. There's a lot of people. That's a big deal.
It's a big deal, but there's there's a way
Listen,
bigger
if what
prize.
you win is called the championship, if it's the championship game, I'm cool with the ring. I think it's useless to me, but I'll take it. I mean, I'll take that ring and stick it somewhere. Heck yeah, I will. Heck yeah, I will.
I'm not on board with that. But anyway, Puig was with me in that he and I agreed on
He could care
one
less
thing.
about that thing.
So who cares about the National League Championship? It's a great accomplishment, but you lost in the World Series. It really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I do being late for the press conference really did bother me, because that's exactly, I guarantee you, all the front office people, all the media relations people, the PR people there were shaking their heads in belief that happened.
Yeah.
Because they're like, okay, this is exactly why he wore thin on everybody there. You know, being late for stuff all the time, team meetings and press conferences and, obligations that he has as a professional. He was late for that kind of stuff all the time, late getting to batting practice and, doing extra, and then early in his career, one of the veterans had to yell at him a little bit as he's doing an interview in the dugout when he's supposed to be on the field taking batting practice. And that was the start of it. And it was, I just don't like that he doesn't. That's disrespect for other people's time. I do not like that. You have a ton of media people, and of the 4 guys, everybody wants to talk to Yasiel Puig in that press conference.
Of course. Why? Because of the crazy antics kind of a person
Because
that
of that
he is.
kind of
It's
stuff.
that kind of stuff that makes him the guy that everybody wants to talk to. So I'm totally cool with it. I don't care. Show up late. Show up whenever you do. You don't even play for the Dodgers. Why do you have a requirement to be there for them to give you a ring? They traded you away. I feel you trade me away. You want me to be there? Okay, we're playing you. You want me to be there. I'm sure you do because you can give me a ring. Like he said, throw it in my locker. I'll be fine. I don't need to be there for that.
If he is scheduled, if he is asked to be there at a certain time for this press conference and he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to take part in it, and I don't know, maybe he did, tell everybody ahead of time, I will not be there. I will not be there for that. When I get to the ballpark for my normal preparation and you want to have a media scrum, okay, I'll answer some questions. If that happened, fine.
Is it called a scrum? Is that a group of media members? Is that like a flock of geese, a media scrum?
I think a scrum is like when you're like after practice, not necessarily a press conference, but when the media is there, like after a practice or whatever, and you see it all the time. Greg Popovich is just surrounded, standing with his back against the wall, surrounded by people asking him with cameras and stuff in his face. I think that's a media scrum. Anyway, but
I just enjoy the word.
if he said ahead of time, I'm gonna go shopping.
All I can think about right now,
Instead-
only thing I can think right now is what's that sport? Rugby. Isn't that a scrum when they all get in the middle of the
maybe.
field and they're all like
Rugby
wrapped around
scrum?
each other and moving around? I feel like that's a rugby scrum.
That sounds like
I feel like
the correct term for that, yeah.
I feel like that'd be pretty slick to see the media get into a scrum like that. You got Bobby Nightingale Jr. You got John Fay.
Maybe that's what it is because they're elbowing each other, trying to get in there.
Yeah, there you go. I'm down with the scrub. I apologize for
No big deal.
breaking your point up.
Well, you don't owe me an apology, but Yasiel Puig owes a whole bunch of people an apology for making everybody wait on him and wonder where he is. If he didn't say anything ahead of time, I think it's really unprofessional, and that's why he's not a professional. That's why he got on everybody's nerves in L.A. and why they were ready to move him for Homer Bailey.
Yeah, but they didn't even want Homer Bailey. They
Right.
But they were trying to get rid of Cap. That was the whole point. Let's get rid of some high guys. Come on, now.
I think
I'm telling you right now, the fans in L.A.
love him.
Fans loved him.
They loved him.
Every fan and most of the fans in Cincinnati do, except you.
Except for when he, makes the boneheaded
He
plays.
hasn't done it yet. He hasn't done it yet. Let's see. Maybe he's He
But
might
he
have
did-
turned over. He's done it in the past. You know what? The past is the past. I'm looking.
Okay,
to
well,
the
he
future.
obviously hasn't turned over a new leaf as far as being professional, because he's still doing that
that's
now. But
I don't know, man. I'm still feeling like you traded me away. I have no professional courtesy to you that I feel like I owe you to be there to get my ring. Now, I would do it because I'm like, heck yeah, give me a ring. I'm about to fit this bad boy on this little tiny finger. I'm gonna show my National League Championship Series ring off to everybody. Hey,
I'm gonna wear it while I'm playing for the Reds in this game.
he's a single fella. You take that thing into a bar with that kind of bling, they think you won a World Series. These girls are thinking anything.
Is he single?
I don't know if he's single or not. He's got to be, right? He had to swim across an ocean. If he's not, he
That
left
was
them all
years
over
ago
there.
now.
Yeah, well, they're still over there probably.
I don't know if he is or not.
It doesn't matter. That's anyway. So, listen, Puig's Puig. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Get used to it. Embrace it.
I don't think I'm gonna have to because he's not gonna be around in Cincinnati long. I don't think. But anyway,
You think he's gone by the trade deadline?
I don't know if necessarily by the trade deadline.
You think you're
but
just
I
gonna
don't-
get a year out of him?
I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna sign him to an extension or anything like that, unless they get a really good bargain or something like that. But we have 16 guys. We have 16 outfielders on this team right now already. So and then you have
Philip Irvin's in here rolling through things, doing what he does every time
Yeah.
he gets called up. So
and you got Taylor Trammell waiting. It seems like he's probably going to be ready pretty soon. To come
not
up.
to
You're
mention
gonna have
Nick
another guy.
Senzel.
Nick Senzel. So anyway, but let's talk about teams that win. How about that?
Let's do that. Let's talk about teams that win. You got a little something special for me, I understand, today.
I do. I think we're going to have a little fun doing this. I hope it's
fun.
good to listen to. The Red Sox and Yankees right now, as we speak, are playing their first series of the year against each other.
Yes.
And that's always over the years, I kind of the last few years I kind of stopped paying real close attention to it because those games last like 4.5, 5 hours sometimes, just because it's such a big presentation.
It is.
But anyway, it's the longest, probably it's the biggest rivalry in baseball, I would say, and long time rivalry. So in the spirit of playing, there was an article the other day where it was who was it? Bill Leach from
Bill Leach.
MLB.com.
He used to be related to a guy I knew. Something, I think it was Nick the Newt or something like that. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Sure. Bill Leach from MLB.com put out a list of the 20 greatest Red Sox and Yankees in the spirit of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry happening right now. I want to see how many of the 20 you can name. Now, a couple little things here. They had to play for either the Red Sox or the Yankees for at least maybe I'd say like 5 years at least.
Okay.
They had to.
Is
they
it
had
10
to
on
have
each team? Like the top 10 from each team, or
Nope,
just the
it's
top 10
mixed.
total?
Top 20.
Top 20.
Total mixed Red Sox Yankees, just top 20 players. He ranks
Okay,
them
real
1
quick,
to
how
20.
far does it date? What's the oldest guy? How far does it date back to? Does it date back to like Babe Ruth, or are we going?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
All the way back.
Even farther than Babe Ruth? Well,
Yes.
if it's farther than Babe Ruth, I'm going to struggle with that, but I will give it a go. All right, so it's basically the top 20 Yankees and Red Sox of all time is really what it is.
That played because like you had Randy Johnson played for the Yankees for 2 or 3 years.
That doesn't
and he's
count.
an
I mean
all-time
like all-time Yankee players,
Correct.
all-time Red Sox players. So let's start off the bat. We'll go with the Yankees first. So you got Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Berra, Mantle, Jeter, Rivera, Bernie Williams.
You got all of them right until Bernie Williams.
Okay, so we'll take Bernie Williams off. That was a question mark on Bernie though. You could tell
It was.
right. I had the question in the airs. All right,
So you got number 1 is Babe Ruth, number 3 is Mantle, number 4 is Gehrig, number 5 is DiMaggio, 7 is Berra, 8 is Rivera, and Derek Jeter is 15. So you got all those guys.
Okay, so six right now. So let's keep going with them. We're gonna go to starting pitchers. I mean, you got guys like Catfish Hunter. You got guys like Roger Clemens. I figure Roger Clemens is on there. Probably on both sides.
For both.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. So Roger
He's
Clemens.
11.
Number 11. All right. So let's switch over and just get myself into some Red Sox guys. So you got we got Ted Williams.
Number 2.
All right. You have guys like Carl Yastrzemski.
Number 13.
Carlton Fisk.
Carlton Fisk did not make
Did
it.
not make it. Wow. Okay. So I'm at 9 now. So then let's get into nowadays. You got Nomar.
Did not make it.
You're out of your mind. That's
Yeah.
the craziest thing I've ever heard.
You know what? I'm just going to
I'm done. I don't even want to do this
List
anymore.
away.
My
Throwing
man,
it away.
Nomar didn't make it. All right. That's okay. I'm okay. Nomar's not on there. So Manny's definitely on there.
The very first person I thought of when I saw this list and I thought, how is he not on there is Manny Ramirez.
Manny Ramirez
did
isn't on
not
there?
make
Holy
Bill,
cow.
Bill
This
Leach's
is
list.
starting to get me a little nutty here. So Pedro Martinez definitely is.
Pedro Martinez is number 14 on the list.
Pedro Martinez. You're gotta have a guy like Kurt Schilling.
Kurt Schilling did not make the list.
This is nuts. Okay, so I've got total of 10 of the 20. Okay, I wonder, are there any managers in on this?
Well, there's a guy who, there's a couple guys who ended up managing, but they played for those teams first and then managed them.
Okay, so
Yogi Berra is
Yogi
one.
Berra, right?
Another one, another former Yankee that I played and managed.
Oh man, this is now. How am I in such a?
He was the 1961.
Oh,
World
how about
Series
David
MVP.
Ortiz?
David Ortiz is number 16 on the list.
Good looking Tyler Roop and Dwight Cole. I like that. Good work. I appreciate that. Let's see. I always say Dwight. I don't know why it pops up that way on the comments. Anyway, Alex, I appreciate it. Let's see. All right, so I mean, you're not going to have a guy like Joe Torre, obviously. Oh no, the manager right now, or not now. Well, Aaron Boone's now. So why not Aaron Boone? Aaron Boone ought to be on
No,
there.
Aaron Boone. No, he definitely is not one of the
All
top
right.
20 guys.
Hey, are you kidding me?
One
How
of the
is
top
he not?
20 moments?
Yeah,
not,
without
not
a doubt, that
this
should
is
give it to you.
players. No.
I feel like that should
No,
give it
not
to you.
even
All right,
close.
that's fine.
If Manny Ramirez is not on this list, Aaron
That's
Boone
true.
is
Aaron
not
Boone's
on
not. So what about? Gosh, how am I drawing a blank on the catcher who became the manager for a million years, and he also caught for
Joe Girardi is
Joe
not
Girardi,
on
thank
this
you.
list.
Okay, gosh, bless. Okay, let's see. This is way more difficult than I thought. Give me some hints.
It's mostly older guys now. So you got
Okay.
all the you got some of the older guys and most of the newer guys. One of the probably the youngest guy left that you haven't guessed yet was a guy that you and a lot of people did not like at all. Played for the Yankees. He has really recovered.
Oh, A-Rod.
Yes, by being a
A-Rod.
pretty
Mike
good-
Mussina?
Mike Mussina did not make it. A-Rod is number 12.
No
on
Jorge
the list.
Posada.
Jorge Posada did not make the list.
Good night.
Now, okay, so a guy that I think you're gonna really get.
Andy Pettit.
Andy Pettit did not make it.
This is the most ridiculous list.
That's Mussina and Pettit pitched a long time
Yeah,
for the Yankees.
They
You would
did.
think
I would
have
think
a
that
chance.
they'd be on there. All right, so they're not on there. Let's okay, give me another hint. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so you got 1 through 5 so far. Number 6 on the list is the all-time wins leader in Major League history.
Oh, Cy Young?
Thank you.
That's ridiculous. That dude's older than dirt.
He was part
How
of
many
the rivalry.
Yankees Red Sox rivalry? What kind of Yankees Red Sox rivalry was there back then? All right, Cy Young. Congratulations. He probably has more wins than anybody in that series too.
Yeah. Yep. 511. So you got so now you have 1 through 8. Number 9.
Talking to the microphone, I can't hear
This
you.
this guy goes back to he played in Boston from 1907 to 1915. Now you are going to know his name. You are. But he was probably even more famous for playing in Cleveland for a long time after that. He was a center fielder.
Nap LaJoy? I don't know. Who we got?
Nope.
Who
That's
is it?
Tris Speaker.
Oh, Tris Speaker played for the. I didn't know
Tris
that. I didn't
Speaker.
realize that. I always thought he was a lifetime Cleveland guy.
Number 10.
Hack Wilson was a Cub. Or
Yep.
White Sox. He was in Chicago. So
No
I'm
Hack
trying
Wilson.
to think some old fogies I could knock off, but I can't think any.
1934 to 1941. Left-handed pitcher. He went by a nickname. He didn't. I have no idea what his first name is because he went by his nickname.
Is it
And I
Casey Stengel?
nope. And I
All right, just give it to me.
telling you what position he played. I pretty much gave you his name.
Is it Lefty Grove or
It is.
something?
It's
All
Lefty
right.
Grove. That's number 10.
That's
So
ridiculous.
you got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So now we just have 17 through 20.
All
Number
right.
17 was another catcher for the Yankees from 1928 to 1946.
Holy cow!
This one's tough. This is the one
Okay,
that I
give it
would
to me.
not have
I don't
gotten.
know this.
Bill Dickey.
Bill
Dickey.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Bill Dickey. on
He
your
also. I heard
award.
that he also started. He also invented Dickies pants.
Yeah, nice.
The Dickies
Nice.
clothing line.
There's also a
Yep.
Dickey's barbecue pit.
Yeah.
That I eat at way too much. Let's talk another guy that we were starting to get at. Played and then managed the Yankees for a long time, I believe.
I don't
At
know.
number 18, he was the 1961 World Series MVP.
Whoa.
He pitched in 11 World Series. 11.
How am I?
And won 6 of them, I think. This
I
is yeah.
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Come on. Who is it?
Whitey Ford.
Oh, you stink.
Whitey Ford, and I think you're definitely going to get one of these last two, and you
All right.
might get both of them. Number 19 is a guy that was playing in our era when we were growing up, probably toward the end of it.
No, I was just pointing to
got-
Tyler. No, Bernie Williams was not on the list,
no,
which is
Bernie
ridiculous.
wasn't
Anyway,
on the list. Sorry. This is a 328 career hitter. played for
Oh.
both teams.
328 career hitter. So this dude's probably back in the 1930s.
He played for Boston from 82 to 96, and then the Yankees from 93 to 97. You're gonna get
Jim Rice.
no, but he's number 20. Good job.
Jim Rice.
Number 19, though, who we're talking about here, he played for those two teams and then retired as a member of another
Dave
National
Winfield.
League East team. He played for 3. And I think those are the only teams he played for. I'm pretty sure. He may have played for one other team.
Oh man, 80. What? Give me the year again.
82 to 92 with Boston, long time with Boston, and then 93 to 97. No, yeah, because then he played in between.
Tino
No,
Martinez.
he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't play anywhere
First,
in
that's
between.
not it.
He
I
played,
don't know. I'm
played
gonna
in
be
Boston,
upset. I'm gonna
then
get
played
mad
in New
about
York,
this. Who is this?
and then he played with
Is it
Tampa
Johnny
Bay.
Damon.
No,
Who is it?
ended his career with Tampa Bay. I think he rode a horse around the ballpark at his last game.
Rode a horse around the ballpark. Is it the big fat guy? What's his name? The pitcher, David Wells.
Nope, had a goatee, pretty famous goatee. I feel like
I don't know. Come on.
Wade Boggs.
Holy cow! That's one of my all-time favorite
I know.
baseball
I thought
players.
it was. I thought it was.
Oh my gosh, my dad's gonna kill me when he listens to this tomorrow.
All right, Wade Boggs.
Wow.
So really,
so
quickly,
many good players not on the list. The White
Yeah.
Gooden. Who else? on there?
Manny's the
Hideki
one that stuck out to
Matsui,
me so much.
Johnny Damon. Both teams. Johnny Damon.
Mhm.
Gosh, that's crazy. Manny Ramirez not on that list. That's unbelievable.
Jim Rice, Wade Boggs, Whitey Ford, Bill Dickey, David Ortiz, Derek Jeter, Pedro Martinez, Carl Yastrzemski, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens, Lefty Grove, Tris Speaker, Mariano Rivera, Yogi Berra, Cy Young, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, Babe Ruth.
A lot of old school cats in there, brother.
I stick Ted Williams above Babe Ruth, and Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig and Ted Williams are 1 and 2 for me.
Lou Gehrig is my number one all-time favorite player, and Ted Williams is probably
He's way up there for you.
yeah, he's
Way up
in the
there for
top.
you.
He's in the top 5 too. But I love Nomar. How's Nomar I mean, I'm staring right now at a Nomar
Yeah.
Garcia Paris signed picture that I have down here. I got a small batting helmet signed by Nomar Garcia Paris. Shout out to Brian Frimming for that. I don't understand. I'm slightly confused. The Nomar thing's really getting me upset right now. Now, the more I look at the sweet swing of Nomar Garcia Parra. All right, that's that's impressive. That's an impressive group of 20 though.
That
that's
is an
on there.
impressive group of fun. I don't think you're going to find two other teams with a 20 near that.
You could get. I mean, if you threw like the Dodgers in there, and even the Reds. You just take the grade 8 and go from there. But I mean, really, the Dodgers have had some phenomenal players on that team. I mean, if you're just talking rivalries, you couldn't find anybody to be the biggest rival.
Yeah, you'd have to do Dodgers Giants probably because that's the next biggest rivalry. I would say maybe.
I mean, but for so long, the Giants were in New York. That was, and the Dodgers' biggest rival was the Reds.
Yeah,
The Reds were when the Reds were in the National League West. So, yeah, I mean that's tough, man. That's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm glad you got into that.
That was fun. Yeah,
I wonder how many mosquitoes were out in the ballpark back in the day, because back in the day they didn't have people come spray for
Oh.
mosquitoes and make sure
I
you're
feel
good.
like the bug problem was awful back then.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And if you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, and you have a mosquito problem, get a hold of the guys at Ohio Mosquito Control. Ohio Mosquito Control offers quality service to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices. It's family owned and operated. Just go to their website, ohio-mc.com. You can schedule your treatment. You can pay for your treatment right there. They'll shoot you an email 2 days before they come. They'll also shoot you an email as soon as they spray and leave, get you an invoice, the whole deal. So those guys are awesome. They spray my yard. I got no bugs. My kids get eaten up like a crazy person. And for the last couple of years, it's been great. Ohio Mosquito Control. It's ohio-mc.com. Customers come first at Ohio Mosquito Control. And just remember that they are the pest of the pest. Once again, ohio-mc.com.
So Tyler Roop on the chat there mentioned, who do we think of the players on today's teams, today's Red Sox Yankees teams, who do we think will make this list by the end of their careers? I mean, you have
Mookie
several
Betts.
guys.
You got
Mookie Betts is number one. For
Mookie
me
Betts
right now,
for sure. You
got
got a guy like Chris
several
Sale.
guys.
Guy like Chris Sale is going to be there.
even though he's having by far the worst part of his
Nah,
career right
It's
now.
all right. He's 0-4 last year. He only lost 4 games. So,
Yeah.
although the other day he lost, was it yesterday? I believe he lost the game yesterday, Tuesday. He had a 9.0 ERA, but his ERA did jump down to 8.5.
How about that?
Yeah, so good.
He
for him.
was really frustrated. Talked about how embarrassed he is and everything.
Oh yeah, he's pissed.
But anyway,
Aaron
that's a good
Judge-
sign.
Aaron
It's a good
Judge would be big.
will
Was
be.
going to be somebody that's going to be on that list.
Yankees have 4 or 5 guys that really are really young guys that we haven't seen. We've only seen the last year or two, but have that potential that
Sure.
that you see are to be all-time greats.
Yeah.
If JD Martinez sticks around the rest of his
That
career,
kid,
maybe.
oh my gosh, JD Martinez, good night. I mean, he just signed the contract to stick around for at least, was a 6-year contract. He signed
JD Martinez did. Okay, yep.
last year. Remember, he was the big holdout last year till February before he signed the contract. So, anyway, speaking of mosquitoes, how about Mick Cronin? Mick Cronin makes the jump. If you're listening to the Nosebleed Sports podcast and you're from Cincinnati or from all the way on the other coast in California, which we have people from both that go to both colleges that listen to us all the time. First off, for UCLA fans, I'm going to tell you right now, Mick Cronin really did a pretty good job of keeping. Everybody knows how I feel about Mick Cronin. If you listen to this podcast, you know I can't stand Mick Cronin. I've never liked him. He annoys the living daylights out of me. However, at the same time, I don't think he's that terrible of a coach, especially for a team that needs some help, not rebuilding, but maybe revitalizing their program. Because I don't think he rebuilt UC's program, but he definitely helped revitalize it after the Huggins issues that ended his stay. So, I for the UC fans that are happy he's gone, I hope that this Brandon guy is really good, and I hope that he keeps things going. But sometimes, man, you gotta be careful what you wish for. For years, my Xavier Musketeers were a stepping stone college.
And still are.
That's what I was going to say. For years they were. We thought we had our lifetime coach.
Mhm.
There was only one school he was going to go to, and it was Louisville. And Rick Pitino, the vampire, finally died. Somebody stuck
Somebody
whatever
somebody
through,
rubbed some garlic at him or
rubbed some
something.
garlic or put a wood stake through his heart. So he finally left Louisville. So Chris Mack left. Once again, puts us right back in that seat of I don't know that we'll ever have a lifetime type coach. And now that Mick's gone, that that long tradition they had, I mean, they had Andy Kennedy in between, but between Huggins, who was there forever, and 13, 14, 15, however long Mick was there,
Yeah, 13.
if Brandon does good and in 4 or 5 years, makes a Sweet 16, keeps these guys going to the tournament, he's gone. He's gone. He's got. I mean, he's gonna go.
You would think so.
And I feel bad for UC fans because it's not easy being a stepping stone coaching program, and that's what I've dealt with my whole life at Xavier. We've been lucky enough to hire pretty good coaches and keep things going, but yeah.
If UC gets back at some point into a big conference, if they join maybe even the Big East, or like if they join the ACC or something like that,
I just think
it
they
may
missed their
not
chance.
be. It may not be. Yeah, it seems like that. There was all that shake up with all the conference, moving around, a couple years ago. So they're in the American Athletic now, which isn't great for making that a high profile job. It is a high profile job, I feel like, because I think they're the best program in that league. But
oh, no doubt about it. I mean, they're the man in that league. And I'm not saying that he's not going. That he's, I mean, it's a step up for him. Obviously, they paid him. Money talks, brother. And
6 years, $24 million.
yeah, money talks, and Mick Cronin walks.
Yeah, and John Brannon came in and really improved NKU's, Northern Kentucky's, since they became a Division I program like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
They've really been impressive for a team that was,
That fresh into Division
that
One.
fresh into Division I. He was there 4 years, and they won 2 regular season and 2 Horizon League tournament championships while he was there, and he got them to their first 2 appearances in the NCAA tournament from the Horizon League. So he brought the NKU program to heights it's never been to before. So he's being rewarded with an opportunity to coach, to step up, coach a bigger program, with a long history, and a chance to hopefully keep what Mick Cronin had going there and maybe even improve it a little bit
That's
more.
the big thing, because he's an offensive guy. He likes the offense, but the team that he has coming in, as long as everybody sticks around, has that defensive mentality built in. So, I really think UC's got a good chance of keeping things going and keeping things fresh and being a really good defensive team. It's always going to be a hard-nosed team. That's the way they're going to I think that the people above are going to make sure that he keeps that going. But, I don't know. But offensively, this team is going to be much more easier to watch. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Not always easy under Mick to watch this team play basketball.
Right. And they're talking already about, Jaron Cumberland maybe being even better under John Brannon in his offensive system, which will be really good for him, because he'll probably get a chance to maybe play in the NBA if he turns into an even better offensive player than he already is. So, but speaking of people above trying to make sure that Brannon keeps it, that tough, hard-nosed mentality in the program, a lot of the guys that came from that started with the Huggins era from the late 80s through early 2000s, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been,
So
that was his calling card. He was going to be, really tough defense. They got in the weight room more than any other program, I think, in the country. They just had really tough, really, really, just grinded out guys, and they used their defense to play offense in a lot of cases. But there was that mantra, that hard-nosed, tough thing about that program that was there for so long. And we heard after Mick left and the coaching search started,
a lot of Nick Van Exel was out there. A lot of guys like Frank Martin were thrown out there.
Andy Kennedy even coming back.
All former UC, former Bob Huggins, former hard-nosed defense, Frank Martin, psychopathic-looking people.
Yeah.
So
links to Huggins.
Yes,
which
is where Mick was from and everything like that. That's where that's the UC way for as long as we've been around.
Yeah.
So my favorite tweet that came out from this is Kenyon Martin's. So Kenyon Martin immediately says, "I give the University of Cincinnati a F+ for the hiring process." Why did they get a plus? Was it just a little bit? They almost got to a D. I didn't know there was an F+. I just thought it was an F.
It was a 69%. So 70% it's a D. 69%.
It depends on where you go to high school, man. At Elder, that's how it was. But in the public school system, bro, you could get a 60 and be sitting on a D process on the D line. I would have never had to go to summer school.
I'd have been a great student. Yeah.
Mr.
So
Driehaus.
Kenyon Martin did come out and say a lot of things about being disappointed in the process. Now, he didn't use the right words in all of his tweets, I don't think, to express what he really meant, but I
think he expressed exactly what he meant, and then because the very next thing says former players are not happy about that hire.
Yeah. And that makes it sound like they don't like John Brannon. I don't think that's what he meant, because he did go back and say specifically, I think he tweeted at John Brannon and said, "Look, this is not a personal thing with you." But he did not appreciate from what I understand, from what I gather, they interviewed John Brannon and Darren Savino, the associate head coach under Mick Cronin for the last year. Those were the only guys. So people really, really wanted that link to the Huggins era, and you would have gotten it from Van Exel. But they did not interview very many guys, and
No.
Brannon was one of the names on the list, on the short list, and he got the interview and he got the job. And so because he doesn't have that link to the Huggins era, several of the former Huggins players, former UC players, had stuff to say that they were not happy.
Yeah, what were you saying to me? Like it's like a cardinal sin of all UC play of any UC fan to say, "Go UK" or "Go X."
Yeah, and one of the former players did say that.
Anthony Hicks or Anthony Hicks. I say Anthony Hicks because I'm a Xavier guy, and Anthony Hicks at one point in time was the leading all-time scorer at Xavier until Byron Larkin came along and many others. But anyway, yeah, Eric Hicks had that to say. I thought that was pretty funny.
So a bunch of guys did, and then they kind of they've backpedaled a little bit, just enough to, not everybody did, but Kenyon Martin tried to, because he got a lot of attention for the stuff he was saying on there. A lot of people were giving him some grief, and a lot of people didn't agree with his stance, and those other guys that had a problem with their stance, just because. They're unhappy with the process of a Huggins guy not getting a chance to interview or whatever, I guess. So, and that's the thing. Like they talk about, you should want to bring that, the heyday, the best period of time in UC basketball history was during the Huggins era. That's when they were the best. For several years they were a top team, a top 5-10 team in the nation. And they went to the Final Four in '92 under Huggins.
Yep.
So it does seem important, or like for the fan base, it would make a lot of sense to bring guys back like that. But you don't necessarily have to bring them back in a coaching a situation, But I think it makes sense for any program, especially bigger programs, to bring back and do things with the marketing and stuff with their all-time best players. They should do more things around games and around events with Kenyon Martin, with
UC
Eric Hicks.
has been notably not very good at that. They don't
Right.
retire very many numbers. They don't bring any. You don't have to retire everybody's number. They don't bring people back for games. There's a lot of things that they lack when it comes to, like, you go to a Xavier game, and Xavier's not always the best at it either. Here recently. Anytime there's a Xavier alum there at the game, they pull him out in the middle and say something during a timeout. But it never used to be that way. There wasn't a lot of stuff like that. I think that's huge. And John Brennan said that he that's what he wants to do. He wants all the UC. He wants it to just be one, not separate UC eras. He wants it to be one UC university and bring these guys back and celebrate them. And I mean, obviously, when you get the tweets coming in, not towards
he
you
said that in
necessarily.
response to
exactly.
those tweets,
That's
yeah.
exactly what it is, and it's not necessarily at him, but it's a result. He sees how the former players are, and he can't lose those. So he needs that time. He needs that time.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. He needs those guys there to back him up, especially I think if they get to see how he coaches and get to see him in practices and get in and really sit down and talk to him in his office, I think they'll end up liking him. He's a good guy.
That's the thing. He kind of left it as like an open invitation, but that's what I mean. I think you have to actively go out and invite those guys in. Say, hey, will you come? Hey, Eric Hicks, will you come talk to my guys after practice or probably before practice on such and such a date? Hang out at practice.
Come help. Come here. Come sit on the floor during a practice. Get in with my big guys and put a body on them and explain to them little things. I want you to be part of the team.
Yeah, and yeah. But do things like that, and then invite, get the marketing teams, the PR teams to do stuff like have guys come out, invite guys to specific games. We are going to honor you at halftime. We're going to honor you during a timeout. You specifically, one individual guy, Elder, where we went to high school, they do this at all their home basketball games. They have a former Elder basketball player come back and be like the honoree of the night or whatever.
Right.
During a timeout or in between a quarter or whatever, they have a list of their accomplishments from Elder, what they've done since they left Elder or whatever, what they're doing now or whatever. And they talk about, it's a 30-second thing at the most.
Yeah.
They announce the guy, his accomplishments. The guy walks out, waves. It's a little awkward. It's a little bit weird, honestly.
I love that.
But
I love
but
watching
it's
awkwardness
cool,
on people.
especially the guys that I grew up watching when I was a
Exactly.
kid, and I loved, all the John Millers and Mike Schwallies and all those guys, come back and honor those guys. Talk about, I forget. Oh my gosh, yeah, he averaged 18 points a game and scored 45 against Moeller one year and stuff. I remember that game now. I forgot, but
Yeah.
that kind of stuff's cool.
Brings
And you
things
bring
back.
those guys back and do stuff like that at big programs that a lot of people know these guys, UC and Xavier and those kind of things. Do that, have a booth out on the concourse or whatever where guys are signing autographs or something like that,
Yeah.
I think fans would really get into that because there are long time fans of these programs, lifelong fans, and they will be a long time. You go to these games and you see old timers there all over the place that have been UC or Xavier fans their whole lives for 40, 50 years. It just makes sense. It makes sense at every program to me. So, but they've got to be active about it. They've got to reach out and make things happen, not just say, "Hey, you guys can come by whenever."
You're right, and I think that's the public part of it. What he's doing there, that's the public. Hey, here's my announcement. Listen, I want this to be a thing. But that kind of stuff is done inside. That's done in the office. That's done behind closed doors. That's not something that he's gonna, tell everybody who he talked to and who he didn't. Because if somebody says no, then it looks bad on both of them. So you're also not trying to do something like that. So I definitely think that's going to be done, and I think that will be good for UC. Good luck, UCLA. That's all I got to say. Good luck, UCLA. Listen, Mick Cronin is a phenomenal post-game press conference guy. He's a phenomenal just press conference quote
and
all the time.
By phenomenal, you don't really mean that, right?
No, I mean I think that people love him in press conferences. Like people that aren't UC fans loved him. Like UC fans couldn't stand his press conferences, but his constant sound bites that you get out of it. He says the wackiest wackadoo things you've ever heard half the time, and have fun with that. It's going to be a lot of fun out there paying attention to that. Hopefully he doesn't try to get in a fight with some Baylor guard or something like that. He's been known to try to get in fights with people. So with
I
people
think you're
from other
talking about the
teams.
JP McCure incident, and I would say that he was probably not the instigator.
I'm not saying he was the instigator, but he's the grown man on the court. He shouldn't be running into a line acting like he's gonna do something. Anyway, that's I really don't have. I can't really talk on Mick Cronin because as soon as I try to be nice about him, it always turns. But I really am serious about UC fans that are happy he's gone. Mm-hmm. I don't like the guy, but be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. You don't know what's coming behind. That is the worst feeling. I've felt it like 8 times. It's the worst feeling to not know exactly what's coming. I felt that way with Skip Prosser, ended up being good. Felt that way with Sean Miller. Felt that way with Thad Matta.
That's the thing.
Hated it when Thad Matta was even there.
All those guys ended up working out really well for Xavier.
Yeah,
right?
and even Thad Matta worked out. We made it an Elite Eight, things like that. But I just didn't like him. But you just don't know. You don't know what's coming. I hope the best for him, and I hope Brannon and Steele end up with some kind of thing where they can't stand each other, so to make that crosstown shootout a little bit fun. I enjoyed the crosstown shootout when the coaches don't like each other. When Pete Gillen and Bob Huggins didn't like each other, that was some of the best crosstown shootouts. That made the rivalry huge. And I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Mack and Mick Cronin knowing each other as long as they did, I don't think they liked each other. I don't think Chris Mack liked Mick Cronin. I think they did their little song and dance when they were out in public, but
I agree.
Many times I don't think he might have respected him as a coach, but I don't think he respected him as a person.
You know what I liked about both of those guys being here in that rivalry is they were high school. They didn't play at the same time. I don't think, but they were high school rivals too. They played in the GCL. They played for
St. X and
LaSalle.
Yeah.
So that was always a really cool thing to me. I love the hometown thing. I'm a sucker for it.
Me too.
So I that was the one thing. I'm with you. I was not a fan of Cronin. I think he's a pretty good coach for the most part. He can coach defense for sure.
Heck of a coach.
He can motivate guys. I don't know if he always did it the right way, but because he's a screamer. He really gets into guys, and that works for some guys, and it doesn't work for other guys. But that's his way. And every coach, some coaches just have their way, and if you don't like it, you're not gonna last. You're not gonna work out. But I want him. I didn't like watching him coach, but I want him to succeed at UCLA because I'm kind of a UCLA basketball fan.
Listen,
I have been for a long time. I love so many of their players, and I love the history, especially from John Wooden.
Exactly.
John Wooden is what he's got like 4 books or something like that about him, and a couple of them that he wrote. The Pyramid of Success. If you have not read The Pyramid of Success, you don't even have to be a basketball fan. It's about life. He ties in basketball. My favorite book ever. It's my favorite book of all time, The Pyramid of Success. I read it twice. It's so good. It's so motivational. But John Wooden, it will make you respect that guy so much. And of course, all the championships he won at UCLA and everything, all the success he had. But that made me a fan of him. And then I loved when they won it in the 90s with the O'Bannon brothers and Tyus Edney, and then you had Westbrook and Kevin Love, and Baron Davis, so many, Reggie Miller, so many of my favorite basketball players played, for UCLA. So I've just always liked the program, and I want them to get back. I think college basketball is better when UCLA is great, when Kentucky's great, when Kansas and Michigan State and Michigan, and those big time programs are great. So I think it's just going to be good for everybody if Mick Cronin is successful at UCLA and builds that program back up to where it was whenever the last time it was.
I'm not
really
sure
good.
Mick Cronin can bring. Here I'm about to talk bad about Mick Cronin. I'm trying not to talk bad about him, but I don't think he can bring him back to that kind of prominence or that Elite Eight, Final Four, constantly in those kind of situations. I don't think he can bring a team to that point. It's just not who Mick Cronin is. I don't think he can do that. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong for UCLA's sake. But I can't talk about Mick Cronin. It's just everything I want to say is a bad thing.
Coming into when he started his head coaching career, he was at Murray State for 3 years before he came to UC, but he coached under Huggins and he coached under Pitino, and he was there. He was so highly regarded as a prospect to be a head coach because he was their best recruiter. He was such a great recruiter.
And there's a lot of UC fans I've talked to that thought he wasn't. I disagree. I think he gets a lot of really good athletes. I just don't know that I think he goes after the type of guy that Bob Huggins used to do. Bob Huggins would go after the best athlete, turn him into an unbelievable defensive player, and then turn him into a great basketball player. I just don't know that Mick was as good at transitioning, developing that freakish athlete into the basketball player.
To complete basketball player.
Exactly.
I think I'm with you on that. But anyway, I hope at least, because UCLA, it's going to be easier to recruit at UCLA than it is at UC. I think it definitely should be.
Yeah.
Their facilities, I'm sure, are better. Why would you're going to want to go to UCLA?
How beautiful is it?
It's beautiful weather-wise and other scenery.
If you're 18 years old, you know that there's so many beautiful women at UCLA. It's like USC and UCLA has got to be probably the two. If you're a young man, and let's be honest, that's a big reason why you're going where you're going. If you have the opportunity as a basketball player to choose your school, you ain't telling me that
probably
that don't
like
fit in
Florida
somewhere.
State, some of those those warmer weather places that are usually like that. But anyway,
good-looking locals.
It's good. Good-looking locals, exactly, and transplants. But he should have an easier time, I think. And then it depends on who he brings in. Is it for his staff? If he gets a great staff around him too, that's going to help. I want him to be successful. I want John Brandon to be successful at UC. I think basketball is better when UC is better, especially around here. The Xavier UC rivalry is even better. It's I just want both of those guys to do really well, And I also wouldn't mind seeing some of those guys that reacted so quickly to being so unhappy about John Brannon being the next hire. I would like to see them eat a little crow. So anyway,
Yeah, I'm always good for ex-UC players eating crow.
not for me, not because they're ex-UC players.
For me,
I
100%
just like-
because they're ex-UC players.
for the immediate overreaction, probably without knowing.
Once
what
again,
you're
that's
gonna
part
get.
of the Twitter sphere that comes out. It's you get to say what's on your mind right away instead of waiting a night or 2 nights or 3 nights or getting to meet somebody before you get an interview in a publication and then can put something out there. This is way different. And the way the world we live in, and we saw it with guys like Kenyon Martin and James White, and Eric Hicks and different fellows like that. So
And I respect their reactions a little bit more than just any average fan.
100%,
because
It's a
they're
different-
so much closer to the program, and they have so much more invested. That I do respect their opinions a little bit more, but I also think you need to give the next guy a chance. If in 3 years or 4 years he fell on his face and was terrible, then okay, fine. Be like, you know what? I never liked it in the beginning, and I told you that. Here it is. Now it's time to go get Andy Kennedy or Nick Van Exel or whoever. Then fine. Then I'll eat crow or whatever. But the immediate reaction to not liking the hire before you get to see what he does at all, that's what I don't like. But so Nick Van Exel was one of the guys on that list that people wanted to see, and I thought that would have been awesome. That would have been so cool to see Nick Van Exel, one of the best, maybe definitely
Exactly.
one of the best players at UC ever. He has been coaching in the NBA for the last several years. He has not coached because he was with the Memphis Grizzlies, so he's not coaching in the playoffs right now. So he was available to come interview for the job because his Memphis Grizzlies were not in the playoffs. However, a couple of teams in the playoffs. There are 16 of them right now.
16, which we've already said mediocrity makes the playoffs in the NBA.
So, in the East, yes, in the East.
In both.
In the East,
30. There's
the
30 teams.
The Clippers were like 14 games over 500, and they were
Okay.
the 8 seed. So, speaking of the Clippers, you have
In
the
the
8-1
NBA.
seed, the Clippers playing the Warriors right now. We already got to see – it's already been a circus through 2 games.
Kevin Durant. Let me just start. Can I start with
You
Kevin
love
Durant?
this. Yeah,
Can
I want
start
you to
with it?
just
All right.
go.
Let
Just-
me
just
tell
go
you.
off.
Let me tell you how I feel, so you guys know that I love a good trash talker, right? I love a guy who can get in somebody's head, and once you're there, brother, you stay there. Patrick Beverly is like 9 inches shorter than Kevin Durant, and they have him playing Kevin Durant all game long. Kevin Durant, they each have 2 technicals now, or 2 technicals in 2 games. Like, Patrick Beverly might get Kevin Durant a 1-game suspension in the playoffs before this series is over.
Oh, 7 technicals is tough.
It is tough.
in one series.
But you can't tell me that that's not possible. KD, he got kicked out of the game the other day. Patrick Beverly is so deep enthralled in under KD's skin. I love every second of it. When I was in grade school, we should have won a ring for winning the city championship in 8th grade. Anyway, besides that, I was not a very good basketball player, but I could play defense pretty well. And we'd play a box and 1, and I just played defense on whoever one of their better players was. And as soon as they got the ball, I started screaming at them. Literally would just start screaming at the person with the ball. I did it all the time. Most kids when I got to high school hated me because I went to high school with those kids too. But besides that, I was in their head, and we would win games because their best players wouldn't play that well. I love somebody that can get in somebody's head and just mess with them till their mind's gone. And KD's easy to do that too.
Speaking of that, before we get back into that, you did the Pat Kelsey ball. Speaking of Pat Kelsey, one of the names on the list of people to possibly be John Brannon's replacement at NKU, I would love that.
Do you think he's going to leave?
I don't really think he's going to.
I don't know that
But-
that's a step up or step down. I feel like that's kind of a
lateral.
parallel lateral move.
It probably is, and if anything, if it's either lateral or maybe a tiny step down,
Yeah.
but he would be back in his hometown. He would be back here, and that would he would be visible to if in a few years Travis Steele doesn't work out or works out really well and moves on. I like the situation of Pat Kelsey being already here where everybody can see him and kind of
And he can get a quick
excited about
interview,
it.
just like a guy like John Brandon did. I mean, they
Right.
probably took him out to dinner that night when Mick was gone.
Yeah.
So real quick, just to let you know, Alex, I am not saying that he's a better defender than a guy like Tony Allen. I'm just saying he's way better at getting in his head.
Yeah. Now, I mean, he is a good defender, but he relies a lot on the extra stuff, the
Yes.
in between
I don't
plays.
like pushing. I don't like the dirty stuff. I don't like the John Stockton moves, elbowing people in the gut or pushing people like what he does with like Beverly and Westbrook got this thing going that's ridiculous, which once again another guy easy to get under somebody's skin.
Yep.
But he gets a little overboard and almost hurts people sometimes. He's tripped, the tripping with Westbrook and things like that. I'm not a fan of that. But when you see him just talking to KD and you can just see Kevin Durant, he's probably like, so when you get home, which burner account you gonna get on? Which one's gonna talk bad about me when you get back? Tell me who I need to tweet at.
Yeah, he's good at the like bodying you up, leaning his body, all his weight on you in between plays. When everybody's just kind of relaxing, the ball went out of bounds or whatever, everybody's getting their act together or whatever, calling plays and that kind of thing. He's already on you before anybody else starts guarding. That's where he gets under your skin. That those in between plays, the before and after plays where he is all the way up in your face defending you when there's nothing to defend yet.
Exactly.
And that kind of stuff. And then, he'll talk. And what I thought was weird was I didn't watch game one, but I saw the highlights of those two going at it. And it really didn't seem that bad to me. Like they were going at it. They were getting into it. But KD had a smile on his face a lot of times. And I felt like I could tell the way they were conversing that it was kind of like
in jest, in fun.
Yeah, and it like they knew they were going to get at each other and this was going to be, they were going to get under each other's skin and stuff like that, but it was like just a regular competitive thing that you see all the time, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, but with Durant, it can be like that to start, and you can see highlights and you can watch the beginning, first, second, third quarter of games and see him being that way. But for a guy like Kevin Durant, and I don't, nothing against him, but the guy's an amazing basketball player, but he's got he's a little sensitive. He's a little thin-skinned. And with a guy like that, it might start off that way. All it takes is one small sentence, a couple words, and that whole demeanor is gone. Old boy is now in I hate you mode. You're dead to me. I'm going to do everything I can to get a technical and get kicked out of the game.
I don't know that they should have gotten kicked out, to be honest with you. But that happened, and it wasn't very surprising. It wasn't surprising because of how Beverly is and how KD is. And then, okay, so that was game one, and the Warriors won that game pretty easily. Game two, the Warriors were up 31 points with 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And the Clippers made the biggest comeback in NBA playoff history and beat the Warriors in game two in that last part of the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. And it's so impressive that happened.
It was almost like watching Mick Cronin's UC Bearcats.
Here we go.
Sorry. All right. Nevada. Was that 24 points? I can't remember the exact number. No, it was 24 points. I do remember that exactly number. But anyway, so yes, that once again, KD gets kicked out of that game. KD's gone. You got Boogie Cousins, and this is something that hurts me, man.
Two,
Boogie Cousins in game two, going down. that puts a damper on things when you're a team. Like, I know Boogie's not a mainstay on that team. He hasn't been there long, but I think a lot of the guys. I mean, there's been some turmoil here recently at the end of the year, but this is what Boogie Cousins came here for, was for a ring and to prove that he could play, could get back in and could play and be healthy to sign that next contract. And I hate to see a guy losing money because he just lost a lot of money. He lost a lot of money.
I think
he's going to have to go through exactly what he just did all over again. He's going to have to sign a 1-year cheap veteran deal and try to do something again, because right now he hasn't proved that he can play a whole season. At the same time, man, this Warriors team is not the same Warriors team as years past. Although I don't think this really hurts them with Boogie out. This might just bring them back to what they were for the last 4 years, 5 years.
They're good enough without him. Certainly, 100%. To win a championship. They were good enough without Kevin Durant to win a championship because they did.
Exactly.
And he just made them even better. Boogie made them even better than that. But it sounds like he is definitely going to be out. It was a quad tear, maybe a tendon tear. That I don't think they still know exactly how bad it is. So that's going to determine how far out he is, or how long he's going to be out. It might not be as bad. It might be bad enough to keep him out of the playoffs, but it might not be as bad. He might not miss a year or whatever like he did with the Achilles, I think, right?
Yeah.
Was it the Achilles?
Or something down there in his foot.
So he might not miss that much time. So I don't know that he's going to have to do another 1-year contract. He might, but
would you sign him?
It depends on.
Would you give him that kind of money when he can't even play?
He might not get like the max. But he still might. The way they hand out max deals.
Then he should have got. If that's the case, then he should have got one last year. Nobody came calling.
Well, that was a much worse injury, as far as we know right now, and it was the end of his time.
Injury prone, man.
I really don't like the whole injury prone thing. You get injured or you don't. Sometimes, like Steph Curry missed like a lot of games in his first 2 or 3 years because of chronic ankle injuries, and he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good, about not having them since then. But so anyway, you can't. Yes, chronic injuries can happen, and you can be injury prone, but I don't think it's because there's a problem with you or anything. I don't know. I mean, people look at it differently, but either way, Boogie's out. KD is going to have to get a little mentally stronger. And the Warriors they lost interest in that game. They got up 31. They said that afterwards. They stopped playing.
Whatever. I don't.
They're still that. I think they're still that much better than the Clippers for the most part. Maybe not 31 points in every game better.
No, they're definitely better. But that just because you're athletically better, you're not even that. Just talented wise better. It's the playoffs. Get it over with. Go put some.
Yes.
Win a game by 60. Do what you got to do. Yeah. You don't. This is the playoffs. This isn't a regular season where you just stop playing in a game and don't play the fourth quarter. This is the playoffs. That's why everybody loves hockey playoffs, because the intensity rises to a whole new level. And that's what the guys from Tampa Bay, from the Lightning, came back and said after they got swept by Columbus Blue Jackets was, we've had this spot locked up for so long that we haven't played real hockey in 2 months. Mm-hmm. And now you get into playoff hockey and the intensity rises. I don't want to hear that you got into an NBA playoff game and you got up by 30 and you just stopped playing. Come on. And I know that's what they said, but
and that is what happened, but that's the thing. It's exactly to your point, is that's how they played all year. That's why they lost 20-something games this year, way more than what they've been losing the last few years, because they know they're that much better. So the effort wasn't always there. The intensity wasn't always there. The pride wasn't even always there, because they've won so much and they know they're that much better. But when you get into that, the old, like, you play how you practice, you play that way long enough, or you lose that mindset, that that attitude that you need to be really good and to blow teams out, to be that much better. When you know you can, and you are, you need that edge still, and you just don't have it. And then when you go through an entire season and feel that way, it's hard to just flip
I'm sure
the
it
switch.
is. You're right.
You know what I mean?
People talk about flipping switches all the time. You're
Right.
exactly right.
And every series, I think it's going to get more intense. It's going to get, they're going to dial it up more because I think every team's going to be that way. It's, but some of these like middle, the 4-5s, 3-6s, they've got to do it right now if they want to advance. But the Bucks and the Warriors, they've got, they know they have a pretty easy first round. The Clippers are pretty good, but they both have, first rounds where they should take care of business pretty easily, maybe get a few days extra rest to get ready for their next round. But they are definitely going to have to get the mindset, get the attitude, the edge, get that back if they're going to stop blowing leads and if they're going to beat teams like they should be beating them.
Right. It'll be interesting. I don't think that the Clippers have a chance in this series. It is 1-1. There's a couple other series that are 1-1. The Denver-San Antonio series is tied up 1-1 now.
7 games. 7 games in that one.
You think 7 games?
I want it. I
I
so
know
bad.
you want
I
it
love
so
the
bad. I
Spurs.
know you're a pop guy. I don't think it's going to happen. What about Utah and the Rockets? I thought that this was going to be OKC versus Houston, and I took OKC in that. Obviously, I'm looking bad now because Portland's up 2-0 on OKC, and those guys just look. I said that we talked about how at the end of the season this season, OKC was on a downslide. They were not playing good basketball and hoping things would get better in the playoffs, and it is not getting better at all. So
they're not shooting the three well. They're just so inconsistent.
16% from 3.
And it hurts when the guy, your best player, is a bad outside shooter. Russell Westbrook is not a good outside shooter.
No, he's not.
He's a great player. He's not a good outside shooter. And they've got to get back to playing the defense they were playing in the middle of the year when they were like dominating, when they look like they might overtake Golden State as the best team in the West. They for a little stretch of a few weeks there, it looked that way, and then I don't know, they lost something where they just didn't play defense the way they were. Paul George has been terrific, both offensively and defensively this year, all year long.
Yeah.
But and they did have a little stretch where I think Paul George missed some games, and they had a few injuries, so they had some different dynamics and stuff to work through. But they've got to get back whatever they had in the middle of the season if they want to advance, because Portland is a team that doesn't look incredible on paper but wins a ton the last few years.
Yeah.
So they look really good. The Rockets Jazz, I want to see 7 games there because I think the Jazz can beat the Rockets. I think the Rockets are still better.
Yeah.
I think the Rockets will probably
You want to
end
see?
up.
Let's be honest. You want to see 7 games in every single series.
I really do, except for Milwaukee, Detroit, because that's not gonna. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I would love to see that. Chris, we have 2 more months
Yeah.
of NBA
I
playoff
know it.
basketball.
How great
I'm so
is that?
excited
I know
about
you
that.
are. So the Rockets just won. That game is over. They won by
So they're-
20, 118-98.
Wow, that's a big. So
It's a
they
big one. So
they're
that
up
puts
2-0.
them up 2-0, which that puts a big that makes things a little more difficult. Of course, everybody knows. Just ask who was it that said playoffs don't start until somebody wins a road game.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. That was just that anyway.
Well, look, Utah's a tough place to play.
It is.
They're
Yeah,
they're
tell
gonna
me about
yell
it.
racist stuff at you constantly, and no,
no, that one guy that does that, they kicked him out.
and the guy that did it the year before to Westbrook
Right.
too. Although I don't know.
All right, so let's go into the East.
Right.
So the Bucks. I mean, this is honest. I mean, Giannis has got this team playing phenomenal basketball. This is the one series that's going to probably go 4 games. The Pistons are not good,
I agree.
and the Bucks are very good. So that's an easy one. The Boston Indiana series, the Celtics Pacers series. This is a little. Is this going to be a home team deal where whoever the home team is going to continue to win this?
I hope so because I want to see 7 games.
Exactly, and you even said whoever gets that 4 seed
Mhm.
is going to win this. Is going to win this series.
Right.
Is what you said before the playoffs started, and it ended up being Boston. So Boston's got the home. So I'm assuming you think Boston's still going to win, even though
I do. After seeing the first 2 games, I do. The Pacers.
they're coming home though. The Pacers, they're not talented, but they play so well together.
Yes.
It's not even funny. They are like the opposite of any NBA franchise that we've seen over the last 15 years.
Except the Spurs.
Well, sure. Well, but the Spurs have always had somebody phenomenal on their team. And don't get me wrong.
But they've played that way, though.
They've played that way, yes. But this team here is missing their best player.
Mm-hmm. They are. They don't have any stars, and that has ended up being a little problem for them at the end of these games because they've had the Celtics beat in both of these first 2 games, including tonight when
the
the
Celtics have
Celtics
closers.
came back and beat. Yeah, and it is you have seen now if through these first 2 games the difference in the talent level. So the Pacers play well enough as a team together to lead a lot of the game and to stay in it. Or the Pacers went up, it was like 10 or 11 points tonight in the second half, and the Celtics came back. The Pacers are a slow team, so Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, a few of those guys can get to the basket a lot of time. Now, the Pacers are going to defend it as well as anybody as far as helping and rotating and stuff like that, but as far as just beating guys one-on-one, they can't really guard one-on-one the Celtics. So you saw that, and then honestly, Nate McMillan has done an incredible job. He might be the coach of the year. If he's the coach of the year if they gave out 2 awards, he'd probably be in the East. He could be the coach of the year in the East. The way he's had them playing, especially after Oladipo went out, but Brad Stevens though has kind of outcoached him at the end of these last couple of games too. The Celtics have ran a couple plays and got wide open buckets when they needed them at the end of these first 2 games, and that looks pretty good for Stevens and not so good for McMillan. But I agree though. I think they're going to. I honestly kind of thought the Pacers would take one of these games in Boston. They didn't, but I still have faith that they are going to be able to win both of these games in Indiana and at least go to 6 games in this series, if nothing else. So. But I would like to see. I just really love seeing this, and I like Boston a lot. But I'm rooting so hard for the Pacers in this series. Sorry, I didn't mean to take too long on that one.
No, you're good.
Sixers Nets though, that's tied 1-1.
I love this. So you think that the Sixers are the team to beat in this? That obviously they're the most talented, but they're so young. You can see these guys not really playing to what their potential is. You got guys bringing phones on the bench. Checking tweets and text messages, trying to find who their hookup in the hometown is going to be, and that,
or trying to check on their sick daughter.
Trying to check on their sick is what is said was done, which I hope that for real is what it was, because if not, and Joel Embiid said that's what that dude was doing, he better at least ran that by old boy first, because if he really wasn't and he was trying to set something up for later that night, he was just trying to
support his teammate. I'm sure he appreciated it.
I'm sure he did, but if he wasn't doing that and old girl back home heard that press conference, no, you were not texting me. Who were you texting?
So
anyway, that's besides.
But look, they did split the first 2 in Philadelphia, and the Sixers put up 145 in game 2 and beat Brooklyn by 22 points.
And that's what they can do, and that's what they should do. But this is a very young team. And the Nets are good. I mean, they're not bad team. I mean, they're very they're athletic. They've got some talent out there. They've got some veterans that can get things going for them. That's the kind of thing that's going to hurt a Sixers team. And obviously, it did in one game. I just don't think they got enough to close it out. Sixers in 6.
I'm with you on that. Yep, I say Sixers in 6 as well. So the last one is Toronto and Orlando. Orlando had the upset in game 1. DJ Augustine had an incredible game in game 1.
I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Yeah, he's been their starting point guard in this year, and they were probably the hottest team in the East coming in to the playoffs. Even though they ended up with the 7th seed, but they were on the outside looking in with a week to go or whatever.
Right.
And they won enough, and they won. I think they won the 3rd most games in the second half of the season, something like that. So they're good enough to beat teams. And Toronto is really good. They have a really good bench, and they're good enough to win the East.
And they've got a superstar.
And they have a superstar who, by the way, put up 37 in Game 2 and took care of business. They blew him out. Toronto blew Orlando out in Game 2. And Kyle Lowry, after scoring 0 in Game 1, Kyle Lowry 0 points in
Wow.
Game 1, came back with 22, played really well on both ends in Game 2.
You know who I think the glue of this team is? The guy I like the most on this team is this Siakam kid. I think he's going to be a superstar in this league. And he puts in good minutes, another double-double the other night, 20 and 10, well 19 and 10. But I think that kid's legit. That's a big part of what goes down. Obviously, it's Kawhi Leonard, and that's where everything runs through.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to have supporting cast, and when Lowry's not there, which like you said, 22 the other night, but 0, so he's averaging 11. Still double figures, I guess. But anyway, I
for their second best player, you want more out of that.
exactly.
Though. Now
exactly.
look, so they go to Orlando now with the series split. Even with that, I think this is 5 games. I think Toronto got the scare. I think Lowry was like, "Holy cow! I'm going to have to play better in the playoffs," which has been a problem for him
for
pretty
years,
much every year.
Forever. It's always been that way.
Which is one of the big reasons why they could never get past the Cavs. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals and stuff like that. They couldn't get past the Cavs, which is why Dwayne Casey got fired, unfortunately. But
why they traded
DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, right. Yep. So they shook some things up, but Lowry's back. They do have Kawhi, and I think they're just gonna take the next 3 here and probably end this thing in 5. So. And I'm telling you what, I think last week we said who we thought was going to win the championship and stuff, and I think I picked Golden State.
We both took Golden State. Just because it was hard. We both wanted to take somebody different. But
today I filled out the NBA Pick'em bracket challenge.
Yeah,
you can win $1 million if you get it perfect. I picked Milwaukee in 7 over Golden State in the finals.
Wow, Milwaukee in 7. This play the United States would go crazy if that were to happen. I think that would be, and when I say that, I don't mean like everybody's rooting against Golden State. What I mean is that would take all this talk of Giannis as the next coming. Giannis is that next LeBron. Giannis is the next greatest player to come into the league.
I already think
that. Well, I know, and that's what most people think. But boy, talk about cementing it in stone. That would be it. Now,
and still not having an outside jumper. Being the best player,
what I was just
being the best player in the league, and still not shooting a 3 real well.
Can't shoot a 3 real well. So that next week, I want to get into a little something. I've been reading a guy, and I got to get his name right, but he does a lot of stats. He does a lot of NBA stats. He's talking about one of his little things he said he'd like to see is maybe the NBA have each home team decide where their 3-point line is.
What?
It goes into a bunch of crazy stat details. It's nuts. But if you're a 3-point shooting team, then you can put it wherever you want. But if you're like a team like, say, the 76ers, and your goal is to make it to a finals, you put the 3-point line at like half court, and you end up against Golden State. Now all of a sudden you got an advantage. So
well, Steph Curry, it's a half court shot is a layup for Steph Curry. So if you play Golden State,
that's fine. And for him, but the rest of the league, it's an advantage. Right. So, but it all came down to like something like the current NBA 3-point line that's been the line since like 1969 or something like that. And even before, like when the ABA and other people were putting the line out there, that line's been in effect for a long time. It hasn't been moved. So, obviously, Brook Lopez is a great 3-point shooter right now. So when you got guys like that becoming unbelievable 3-point shooters, and if you don't have a step back 3 or even a set 3 in your game, then you're going to struggle. Then I'm not saying put it anywhere you want, but I'm one of these guys that I think I'm okay with moving that 3-point line back.
I'd be okay with moving the 3-point line back. They've also talked a little bit about adding a 4-point line. You know, and
I don't know how I feel about, but then again, they had to add a 3-point line.
Mhm.
So, do you add a 4-point line? Man, that's a whole lot of lines. Now you're getting into hockey and soccer, all these invisible lines and lines. I don't know what they mean. Next thing you know, we're gonna have icing. You can't. Oh, real quick. I saw something that was absolutely hilarious. So Giannis got a rebound, or maybe it was a steal. He got a steal at the free throw line on the
Yeah,
other
I
end
know
of
what
the
you're
court.
gonna say.
One dribble, and
One dribble.
laid it in.
It was at the opposite 3-point line.
Was the 3-point line?
It was
I
the-
couldn't
it was
remember
the
if it was free
3-point
throw
line.
line or 3-point line.
Got to steal at the 3-point line.
One dribble.
Now,
7 steps. I counted them. 1 dribble, 7 steps.
okay, so you can
It
take
might have been
multiple
6.
steps
It might have
during
been-
your dribble.
Right. It might have been 6 steps, but
I think he got an extra step or two before he started his dribble.
he collected the ball.
Right, and
And
that's
he took
where the
2 steps
that's
and
where the
then dribbled
gray-
it.
right.
His one dribble was just past half court,
Mhm.
and then took 3 full steps after he picked the ball up again.
So he gets a collect when he picks the ball up from his steal. So he gets a couple steps there, and then he dribbles the ball where you're gonna get another 3 or 4 steps during that, and then you get another 2 or 3 steps with the next collection as you collect it, getting near the hoop.
It's a whole
the
lot
rule-
of collection
The rules
steps.
have changed, buddy.
It's a whole lot of collecting
That-
steps right
Mhm.
there, brother.
Mhm.
It used to take me like 6 dribbles in the layup line just to get from the 3-point line to the backboard. Make sure my feet were right to jump off the left foot.
Mhm. Yep.
Anyway, so I'd like to maybe we get into a little bit of that 3-point line stuff. I doubt
Okay.
it because it's going to be packed again next week because the NBA playoffs are going to start. The first round of the NBA playoffs will really start to get hot and heavy for us. We'll have a lot more to talk about that.
Mhm.
We'll have the NBA playoffs, like I said, the nicknames, the Nosebleed Sports Podcast nicknames finals. Vote this week. This is it. This is the final week to vote. It's the Hick from French Lick versus the Mailman, and then also we'll get into a little MLB triple play deal and see what else is going on. You got anything, brother, that we need to get into? I think we covered everything we wanted to. I'm actually pretty impressed that we kept this thing in about an hour and a half today.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did.
All right. Well,
I'm good.
Yeah, well, in that case, like I said, we'll get into those things. Please remember, go on, vote on the Nosebleed Sportscast nicknames. Get on, catch Adam on the tweet box at
Adam Schmidt 44.
I'm at Sick With It, SICWHITTIT. There was another thing I wanted to get in before we got out. Don't forget, Wednesday nights, 10:30. Catch us live, Facebook, every day, Thursday afterwards. You can catch the Nosebleed Sports Podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify. It's everywhere. You listen to it, we play it. So check it out, and we'll catch you guys next week. Don't forget to turn your headlights on.